all of the examples I'll be demonstrating are available to you when you install the latest Swimlane timeline. Just take a look at the quick start guide that comes with the Swimlane timeline download for more information. Now, I'm going to start by opening up a project file that's in that installation folder, and you'll find it in either C program files visibility.biz or C program files x86 visibility.biz. You'll find the demos folder in there. We're going to be taking a look at all of these various source files, and you'll also see in the demos folder we have a number of custom Swimlane timeline settings that we can leverage through the shared folder option. Now I'm going to open up the Demo 9 strategic roadmap to start with. Okay. You'll see that in project we add a tab called visibility that has two commands that allow you to create from the currently active project, or if you have multiple projects open, you can actually create a ad hoc portfolio view of the multiple projects that you have open. I'm going to start by just creating from active project, and that will fire up Visio, and Visio is going to now start communicating the project and getting all of the custom task fields, the main tasks, and if it was project server, the enterprise task entities as well. And it generates a default view, which is looking 2 levels deep into your project schedule. Now, I'm going to bring up project again here, and I want to show the view at outline level 1 just so you can see how this was generated. Notice the title, Demo 9 Strategic Roadmap, is actually coming from your summary task. And if you don't see your summary task in project that kind of hit it in 2010 and 2013, just click on the format and you'll see the project summary task checkbox. That's what is the default title. Now, of course, you can override that later, but if you want the default to automatically have the title you want, that's all you need to change. And then you'll see that the other tasks at the next level of depth, the strategic objective A, B, C, and release windows, all have their own swim lanes, and their child tasks are shown inside of that. So that's generally how it's being built by the default view. It's a good starting place. Now, I mentioned that you have the ability to extend the swim lane timeline. So if I look at right now what styles are available, I only have a couple that come out of the box. But let's say our organization has a shared folder with custom files where we have standard settings. I can go to the shared folder option and say, let's point to the shared folder. By default, we always have the current demos folder in there. As you point to new locations, they come up in that drop-down list. Once you select that, it then goes ahead and adds all of the custom settings that are in that folder to all the drop-downs. So, for example, now if I go back to style, I have all of our custom settings for the various demo source files. And I'm just going to select a style, in this case, of Strategic Roadmap Fiscal Year 1. So notice this view, we're looking a couple levels deep. We're looking at years and quarters. You'll see when I apply this style, in one click, it's going to be applying a custom color palette. It's going to be changing the outline levels that are visible from 2 to 3. It's changing the page width. It's changing the vertical spacing between the tasks so it auto-fits to a US letter size page. It's changing the timeline rows to show fiscal year, months, and quarters. It's changing the fonts that are being used. If you remember, they were black fonts in the timeline, now they're white. Shows the dependency connectors between tasks, and it applies a custom conditional format by value, view, and legend that I have developed. So just with one click, I've done all of that task and generated my report. And with this, I can now send it off to PowerPoint or save it as PDF, etc. I want to point out some new things as we go through this demonstration. One of the new features, for those of you that are using older versions of the Swimlane timeline attending, you'll see that we now have different line weights that cross the swim lanes that show you, like the year and the quarters are a little bit lighter lines, and the months are even lighter. It's kind of a nice way to know that where you're crossing year boundaries or quarter boundaries as you're looking deeper inside of your drawing. But I'm going to just send this off to PowerPoint. Notice we have 3 menus here, and those menus, by the way, are virtually identical in Visio 2003 and 2007, but they're drop downs rather than this nice ribbon interface that we use here in 2010 and 2013. So if you learn one version of Visio and then you upgrade, it's a fairly seamless education to move into the new world of the nice ribbon interface that we have. I'm going to send this off to PowerPoint. And again, so it was 1 click to generate the report, 1 click to go to PowerPoint, and we'll look at the PowerPoint. And one thing I wanted to point out is that we have really significantly increased the image quality. So if you've been using previous versions of the product, the version 6.82 has a really high quality paste into PowerPoint or into Word documents. Another great capability of Swimlane Timeline is the ability to drill in for more detail. Now you can drill in on either a swim lane or on a summary task itself. In this case, I'm just going to drill in on the strategic objective A, and you'll notice that it's going to create a whole new page, just like in Excel where you can have multiple pages or multiple worksheets. You can have multiple pages in Visio too, and this created a page that's just devoted to the swim lane or the strategic objective A. And notice we put bi-directional hyperlinks, so if you continue drilling in, you can hyperlink back up 1 level or go all the way back home. This second page I can modify as I desire. For example, maybe I want to change the outline levels that I'm looking at to be 3 levels deep. Maybe in this case, I don't want to see the % complete shading. I'd rather see % complete in the text that's along with the name. So I can go into my Add Show menu here and turn off shading, and I can go to my new text setting command, which allows you to easily change whatever displayed text there is. And I'm going to have the interval shapes be the name and % complete in parentheses. So I'll select that. Now those text settings are customizable. You can create your own however you would like. This is just an example that comes out of the box. Now maybe I'd like to have all of these names left justified in the intervals. I can easily right-click on the page border, and by the way, we have right-click shortcuts on virtually all parts of the Swimlane timeline to help fast-track you. So if you right-click on the page border, on the timeline rows, on the swim lanes, on the tasks themselves, you get a lot of different options available specifically for those entities. I'm going to select all intervals in this case, and I'll right-click on one of them, and you'll see that we have options for text alignment, and I'm going to wrap text and align left on all of my intervals. So kind of really quickly be able to modify that. Now maybe on this program XYZ, I'd like this text to really stand out. It might be something that we want to talk about during a meeting. I can go and use Visio's native commands. So if I want to change the font setting, maybe I'd like it to be bold, maybe I'd like it to be red. I can go ahead and use Visio's native capabilities in these reports. Now, I would like to show how when you save this, for example, to a PDF file, Visio can natively save the PDF in a number of different versions. We'll change this to PDF, hit save, and I'll drag this over to the screen here. So we have our image on our first page, but notice as I move my cursor over the strategic objective A, it shows a pointer finger which allows me to take that link. So that hyperlink is actually preserved. So you can create PDF files that are of your drill-ins that you could save up on for example, a SharePoint repository, and some exec with an iPad could go to that repository, open up the PDF, and follow those drill-ins as well. And you'll see that those bidirectional hyperlinks are preserved as well, so I can navigate through either up or all the way back home. And a nice feature of this. And this is just because of its native Visio capability. Now, another way to see the power of the Swimlane timeline is that we can save these reports that we've generated. So let me save this onto my desktop, and I'll just leave that name. And in this case, I'm using Visio 2013, and so I have this new compressed VSDX format. You could save it in the native Visio 2003 and 2007 drawing VSD format too. But I'll save this, and I'm going to close everything down, and we'll even close project down. And I'm going to reopen that saved Visio file. So this could be an hour later, a month later, a year later, and go into the Swimlane timeline and select refresh. And it's going to actually refresh both of the pages that are in this report, or all of the pages if you had a many-page report. So it's reading in the new data. Now, notice that when I selected refresh, it asked me what file I wanted to use. In some cases, the company might have, the file name, V1, V2, V3, or July, August, September, and you can refresh against a different version of that file. And notice that when I did the refresh, the manual changes that I'd made, the left align the text, and also to have a bold red on that program XYZ is preserved. We've made some enhancements there to preserve those settings. Now that's a quick look at working with a project schedule.